Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elma. So we're going to be going through my transfer tips for game week 12, and that consists of players to buy, keep, sell, and avoid. If you want to watch the short form, I think I have my short up already by now. You can go watch that. But if you want the full video, here it is. So watch until the end. That can be able to assist you with the transfer tips and also differential picks at the end of the video as well. Last week I went 3 out of 4 in the differential picks, and it was very amazing. You managed to follow those differential picks. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all guys for the continued support on the channel. I think we're now 15 subscribers away from 900. So if you're new around here and enjoying the content, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, make sure you share, and also make sure you hit that bell and miss any content being up on the channel. Also leave a comment in the comment section telling me what transfers they're going to be doing before game week 12. And not losing any much time, let's get straight into it. So first, we're going to start off with the players to keep ahead of game week 12. And the first player is going to be Bruno Fernandes. And the one I've gone for him. First of all, let's just start with display information. He's 8.9 million in amazing form of 5.5 in the next fixture. Is Everton. The one I've gone for to keep Bruno Fernandes because I know he's a little bit expensive at the moment, but I think with the fixture that Manchester United have coming up are very good, and I think is a must keep. The play Everton, Palace, West Ham, and Wolves in the next 4 fixtures. And he's also on penalties. And as we all know, he's a creative machine. I think he has the most chances created so far in the Premier League. So I think definitely a must keep and hope that against those 4 teams that can be able to perform. And I'm sure he will be able to perform. Next player I've gone as a must keep. Not necessarily a must keep, but a definite keep, or if you want to keep, you can keep him because I don't think he's a must sell. And that player is Mark Gehi, 5.1 million, 4.7, playing against Wolves in game week 12. And news just breaking out that he did not train at all, even today for Crystal Palace. But I think the game is a little bit far away. I think they play on maybe Saturday or Sunday. They still both saying there's still time to recover before that Wolves game. But it was a Mark Gehi owner. I don't think it's a must sell at this moment in time. Maybe if it's a long term injury like Gabriel, you can think of selling. But for now, I definitely keep and hope that he can be able to perform. And they have very good fixtures coming up. They have United, Burnley, and Fulham in their next three. Even if he's not going to play against Wolves, those 3 fixtures are very, very good. And I think he'll be recovered for the time from Australia because it does not seem like a very long-term injury. So definitely, if you're a McGahey owner and you're thinking of selling, I don't think it's a must sell. If you're a Gay owner, I definitely keep and hope that you'll be able to recover for that Wolves game, not for the Wolves game, he will recover for the United game. And then the next player I'd keep is Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth, 8.1 million. Not the greatest form, we'll speak about it in a minute. And the next fixture is going to be West Ham. Despite Semenyo blanked in the last 3 games, so that's why even in my wildcard video, if you have not watched it, I'm going to put the link in the description. I did mention and ask, is Semenyo an essential pick at the moment, or is he just there because he's on? Because when people own him, you don't want to miss out. I think that's a question I'm going to post to you guys again. So let me down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Semenyo at the moment. But I still think he's not an essential to have, but I think he's an important player to have. Let me put it that way. With the great fixtures coming up, we're going to play West Ham, Sunderland, Everton, and Chelsea. And there's Chelsea there because Chelsea don't keep a lot of clean sheets. So I think Semenyo is a must keep. Although he's slightly injured, but there are very conflicting stories in the internet. Of course, regarding FPL, maybe he's people saying that he's getting engaged. That's why he left camp early. And someone saying that he got picked up an injury or subbed off in like the 60th minute just to keep him fit for the Premier League. So a lot of things happening, but I think it's like I think he picks up a knock, but I think it's also a must keep because of just those fixtures coming up. They've been very, very good, and I hope that he can be able to turn this bad form around and start to be able to perform as well. So that's another player to keep, or rather, those are the 3 players that I suggest to keep. Now let's look at the players to buy ahead of game 12. So now we can go through the players to buy ahead of Game Week 12. And the first player is going to be Brian Mbuemo. I just think United have very good fixture. At the moment, 8.5 million. I think he has the highest form at the moment at 8.2, playing against Everton in Game Week 12. I think he's been on form for Manchester United, been very, very good. And they have very good fixtures coming up, as I mentioned, with Bruno Fernandes, Everton, Palace, West Ham, and Wolves in their next four games. Very high chances of getting a high scoring performance, especially against West Ham and Wolves. So I think it's a very decent option. I think he's going to perform. He's on side pieces as well, I think, from the right side. So that's something really good. His connection with Ahmad is very good. The thing about Ahmad, I also think Ahmad is a very decent pick, a very differential option as well if you want to go down that route. And I think he's also been performing really well in the last five games. And Brian Wayne was only blanked once in the last five games. So I think it's a very decent option if you want a midfield player, cheaper than Bruno Fernandes as well, so you get to save some money. And I think also Ahmad is cheaper than all of them. So if you have a United player, I'll go for Brian Mbeumo, and if you want to go for a very, very differential pick, I'll go for Ahmad. And if you want to go for a sure bet, someone with penalties, I think I'll go for Bruno Fernandes. But I think Brian Mbeumo is also a very good buy. Then the next player I'd say is a must buy is going to be Jean-Philippe Mateta, 8.1 million, 4.3 form, playing against Wolves in game 12. I'm sure Wolves are very poor defensively. They concede a lot of goals, and I think Mateta can be able to exploit that. He's also on penalties, so a very high opportunity for high scoring games. Even apart from game 12, they play United, Burnley, and Fulham in the next three games. So I think that definitely must buy because with the lack of strikers in the Premier League is very concerning. But I think he's one of the best, so he's a must buy for me. Then the next player who I think is a good buy is Virgil van Dijk, 5.9 million at the moment. Very good form at 3.0, playing against Forest in game 12. I think Liverpool have the best fixtures on paper out of every team. They play Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds. So the high chances of clean sheets in those fixtures are very, very high. Forest, West Ham, and Leeds especially don't score a lot of goals. So there's a very, very high chance for clean sheets. And but Liverpool haven't they don't keep clean sheets a lot, but I think those three fixtures they'll be able to do that, and I think Virgil van Dijk will be pivotal in that. So I think it's a good buy, not a necessarily a must buy, but I think it's a very good buy if you want to go for that Liverpool route. When people are going to be transferring out Gabriel, what a better player to transfer him out and bring in Virgil van Dijk. So those are the three players I've gone as good buys. So now let's look at the players to avoid. Some of the players to avoid, the first player I've gone for is Matthias De Ligt from Manchester United. Of course, as I mentioned, United have very good fixtures coming up, but United never tend to keep any clean sheets. And Matthias De Ligt, I think, is a little bit expensive at 5 million. He's been the best player for Manchester United so far, at the form 3.2, and also playing against Everton game 12. I just think United never keep clean sheets. Two clean sheets in 11 games this season. That is a very poor return. But of course, he does chip in with some few goals here and there. So if that is your main interest, I think I'd go for Matis Delit in there. But I think there are better options out there who can offer both clean sheets and aerial threats. So for me, Matis Delit is an avoid. Then the next player to avoid is going to be Jeremy Doku. I'm a bit surprised that he's one of the most transferred in players ahead of Game Week 12. I just don't think he's a must buy. I think he's an avoid. I just don't like Pep Roulette, and I've experienced this with Jeremy Doku. I was one of the first buyers of him in Game Week 10. Then he got two assists. Then he missed Game Week 11. He missed Game Week 12. And he also, I think, missed Game Week 13. Or he was subbed off, I think, in Game Week 12 very, very early. He only got 1 point, then he was rested in the next game. So the Pep Roulette there, I think, is very unpredictable. The only player for Man City I'd go for is Haaland or Donnarumma, because all of the other players are very much rotatable. So that's why I definitely avoid, and I think it's going to be rotated very, very soon with this crazy Christmas fixture period. So definitely an avoid for me for Jeremy Doku, and I advise you to also avoid. Then the other player who I'd avoid is Gabriel from Arsenal. Just came out that he's going to be missing a minimum of 4 weeks. So definitely that's an avoid. And also I think he's a must sell if you own, I think it's time to go. Just unfortunately picked up that injury, especially after that Spurs fixture. But I think maybe it's a blessing in disguise for letting people to be able to experiment with different teams. And down in the comments, who are you going to be transferring Gabriel out for? Because it now looks like a serious injury and is going to be out for minimum 4 weeks and minimum 4 weeks. I think it's going to be out for like 2 months. So very unfortunate for Arsenal, especially when they're going through these tough fixtures coming out. I think it's Spurs and Chelsea back to back. So very unfortunate news, but for FPL, I think it's time to sell and get in another defender. So those are the players to avoid. Uh, very good players, I think. Very good advice there. Now let's look at the players to sell. So for the players to sell, the first one is going to be Mohamed Kudus, 6.5 million, former 1.5, playing against Arsenal in game week 12. I think it's just because of the poor performances he's had in the past 4 to 5 game weeks, no attacking returns. And to be fair, Spurs have been poor in those games, so it's not just necessarily down to Kudus. And he has an injury at the moment, at this moment in time. I don't know how long he's going to be out. But just even also the poor fixtures in game week 12 for team where they play Arsenal and Newcastle. But not necessarily Newcastle. I don't consider Newcastle now a strong team there. They've been performing, but against Spurs they can be able to show up. So I think for Mohamed Kudus, definitely a must sell just because of the poor performances and also he might have an injury that we've not even been told about. So I think for me, it's a must sell. And then the next player who I think is a must sell is Jack Grealish. I don't think he had an attacking return since I think the first 3 games of the season. Maybe he's had one or two in between. But at 6.8 million, I think there are better options out there. Even the form has dipped to 2.0 because you have Everton scoring 3 goals. He's not even involved in an assist or attacking return or maybe scoring goals. So for me, if you have Jack Grealish, I think now is the right time to sell. I think it's a definite sell. And you still on Grealish, I think you should give yourself a little wobble in the head because I don't know you're still owning him when he's not performed in a very very long time. Unless you're an Everton fan, very understandable. But poor performances, tough fixtures as well coming up in the next three: play United, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. So definitely a must sell for Jack Grealish. Then the next player who have gone as a must sell is Dan Burn, 5.2 million. Of course, he's suspended for the Man City fixture. I don't think he would have played him in that fixture anyway, but he's suspended for that. And also Newcastle haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 5 games in the Premier League. This is very, very concerning. Not many people bought Nick Pope for the easy fixture run, and it's been very shocking. And that's the same with Dan Burn as well. And I think now it's time to move on since they're going through that hard fixture run of City, Everton, and Spurs in their next three. So definitely a must sell if you're a Dan Burn owner. Those are the players to sell. Now let's look at the differential picks. Then we can go through the differential picks. We're going to be having Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, 4.5 million, ownership of 3.4 million. Everyone down in the comments as well. What do you consider as a differential? For me, I think it's a 5% or lower ownership. That's what I consider as a differential pick. But many people have different answers. Let me know down in the comments what is the differential pick meaning in FPL. So it's not going for Chris Richards. Wolves are the least number of goals conceded. Wolves are the least number of goals scored. And Crystal Palace, I think, are third in the number of goals conceded. So very high clean sheet chance in game 12. Well, I don't know when the last time when Wolves scored a goal. So definitely, I think this is a very good differential just because for that clean sheet expectation, and I think it's very good for clean sheet against Wolves. Then the next player is Alejandro Garnacho from Chelsea, 3.4 million, very low ownership of 0.9%, playing against Burnley in game 12. I think a bit of recency bias in this. Of course, he scored in the last, he got 2 assists in the last game in the Champions League. He also scored a goal. So you will argue he's on form at the moment. It's very high form. Of course, Garnacho is a good player when he's on form. So against Burnley, I'd expect an attacking return and I'm sure he's going to be able to get an attacking return as well. So definitely a differential pick for Game Week 12 against Burnley. The last player I've gone as a differential pick is Ryan Gravenberch. Also, I always have to go for an outside pick, and I've gone for Gravenberch in this one against Nottingham Forest. I think there's a very high chance for good performance from him in this fixture. He's shooting a few goals for Liverpool this season already. So I do expect him to be able to continue performing. And I'm sure against Nottingham Forest, I'm able to get a cheeky goal or an assist, or I hope so, just to be able to get another 3 out of 3 in the differential picks. So yeah, that's my transfer tips: players to buy, sell, avoid, and keep, and also some differential picks in there. It's another long, long video. If you managed to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also check out my socials. Links down in the description, and I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.